We should talk about how we wanted to start this.
Well, you let it come in organically.
Yeah, these things you kind of roll into it like a
no
fat guy falling down the
pesticides,
stairs.
no human growth hormone.
A fat cat running down the stairs. His belly swinging like a pendulum.
It's why the stairs have like a polished center in the middle because of his stomach.
Do you ever see those videos of puppies trying to run down the stairs for the first time?
And they just like...
it's like carpeted and they just go...
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Good boys.
Oh, speaking of animal cruelty, we have some good stuff today.
Yes, we do.
We are studying up on some of the crackest of CrackOps on this podcast, CrackOps.
So the whole premise of this, since this is the first one, the whole premise is that our beloved researchers, Jack and Abby, look into stuff that the government has done.
Or a government.
Or any people have done, really. It's basically crackhead operations. Some really dumb shit.
It's not a black op. It's a crack op.
It's not a black op. It's a crack op.
Yeah. So there's a distinction. There's a pretty hard line between a black op and a crack op. A black op is, anything really secretive that the government does. The FBI, CIA, DIA, alphabet soup shit.
Yeah.
A crack op is one of those secretive ops that you learn about from a commission hearing 20 years after it happens because it was part of a series of incredibly stupid things the government did that resulted in mass death and suffering.
If it involves psychics, it's a crack op.
If it involves animal testing, it's a crack op.
Drugs.
Drugs. Oh, drugs.
Dolphins.
If it's one of those examples when someone says, oh, the government would never do that, and you can bring this up and counter to that point, it's a crack op.
Brothels with two-sided mirrors.
That doesn't make any sense.
What?
It will.
We'll get into it in a future episode, but for now.
Wait, okay.
Yeah. So we're starting with some really good crack op. This is fish scale crack op. This is the Nicaraguan white. This is the best stuff you're ever going to hear.
He's talking about cocaine.
Oh, well, that's later. That's actually a later episode. There's a lot of these. This one is about Operation Acoustic Kitty, which was a CIA operation, back in the good old days when you couldn't just point a laser at a window to spy on someone. You had to actually physically get a microphone into the room.
And get creative.
Get creative with getting that microphone in there because they were fucking huge. They were like this size. So what they did is just probably the crackest of crack ops you ever cracked. So I'm pulling from several sources. I'm going to put those in the description for you guys. These are all like verified facts. There's a little bit of speculation. I'll probably say when there's speculation versus what we know. There's a lot of FOIA documentation about this stuff being true.
Freedom of Information Act.
Thank you.
Of course.
So this came out when Victor Marchetti, who was the former assistant to the deputy director of the CIA, what a job title, exposed a bunch of
former assistant
to the deputy director.
Assistant to the deputy.
Place.
So this is like the Dwight Schrute of the CIA.
This
assistant to the regional manager.
The ghost of middle management.
He was a very Dwight Schrute character, actually.
Now you're all picturing him as Dwight Schrute.
Yes,
so.
I'm okay with that.
So this guy was a paper pusher at the CIA, and he's unique among a lot of these guys because he actually got kind of horrified at what he saw, and so he released a bunch of documents illegally in the 70s. Now, this went down between 1960 and 1967, if I'm not mistaken. I know it ended in 1967. I'm not sure when it started. We're a little gray on that. Mm-hmm. Not a black op, so it's a gray op. And the idea was to spy on a certain Asian head of state. No one to tell you who it was. I think it's probably Ho Chi Minh.
Okay.
Because this guy was...
that one congressman from Hawaii.
From the one district of Hawaii.
Okay, Ho Chi Minh.
Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, I think it was Ho Chi Minh. Might have been Mao, might have been Sukarno or Suharto. I don't know. But this guy had cats that would go in and out of his strategy sessions with his generals and political operatives. And so the idea was, what if we found out a way to smuggle a microphone into this guy's meetings to spy on him using a kitty cat?
Oh.
And
you just put it on a little collar.
And, at first they were like, okay, we can get a little microphone and we can, put it on the cat's collar or maybe sort of lace it into the cat's fur if we get a long-haired cat. And we can train it to go into this guy's meetings, hang around for a little bit, and there can be like a van across the street because radio transmission was shitty back then. So very short range. And they can record from that, and then they can pull the cat out. Turns out microphones were too big. Antennas were too big. Batteries were too big back then. So they had to get creative.
Like bugs were like giant cockroaches in
Yeah,
the 60s.
Yeah.
They're little flies now, but they were like rat-sized cockroaches back
They were
in the day.
palmetto bugs.
Because this is before really the advent of miniaturization of technology. Like the transistor was like maybe 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
But it hadn't worked its way into the point where we're at. Nowhere near where we're at now, where you can like fit an entire computer that has more tech than the Apollo space program onto your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
like that's around the time
So
frame.
they
that we're
couldn't give the
talking.
cats a microphone weave.
no, and
No.
it couldn't be like the Men in Black cat where it can talk through its little collar.
Aw.
Yeah, too bad. That's in the future. So what this entailed was a twofold program. I'm going to get to the second part later because it's the most fucked up part. But the first part of the program was just animal training. The government has long used animals for various purposes, especially dogs in the military. You know, horses, carrier pigeons. You know, animals are very important, especially...
Minesweeping dolphins at some point.
That's also involved with this. This there's a lot going on here. So one of the guys who was involved with the training program for these animals was a guy named Bob Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran like basically a novelty zoo. Like he was the guy who trained chickens to count, you know, that sort of thing. Trained
So they
pigs
got a
to
P.T.
wear-
Barnum guy to come in and
Yeah,
help them spy on Ho Chi Minh.
effectively, yes. That's
Cool.
what happened. They got a circus man.
The 60s.
The 60s were great.
Ha ha!
Give money to
No one will see my spy work.
Yeah. And so, you know, the agency is down in the Southland where this guy is. I think he's in Louisiana or something. And they see, you know, the counting pig. They see the dancing chickens. They see the spider that, like, writes with its webs and gives life lessons. And they're really impressed. And they think, okay, so we can get this guy to literally train cats. And so they do. And there's actually some success. The one thing that this project produced, spoiler alert, it doesn't work very well, was actually some data on cat training. So they got this guy to train a cat using various techniques, some of which I assume were just horribly cruel because this is the 60s. They trained it to go short distances.
I'm sorry. Just imagine Deutsch root waterboarding a cat.
That image is for free, folks. Enjoy that one.
Are you gonna go now? You gonna go now, Mr. Whiskers? Oh. I'm sorry.
The numbers, Mr. Whiskers! What do they mean? I hate this podcast already.
Then we're off to a great start.
Oh my god.
So they tried to train this cat.
So they tried to train this cat. They had some success. They were able to get the cat to go like short distances. And this was like labs. This was personnel. This was assuming probably a lot of interns making coffee. Millions of dollars. It was so expensive. And they trained the cat to go short distances.
On command.
I like
command.
how
They
you can
trained a
bring-
cat.
I like how you can bring your dog to like Paul's Academy to train them, but to train a cat, you need to have like a secret government operation, tons of money, and like a military base to like get it to walk in a straight line.
Yeah, that's effectively the truth. They
5-year-olds can train dogs to let them ride on top of them.
Yeah.
If this had been an Asian head of state who had dogs going in and out of his meetings, they could have been spying on him in a week. But
I just like to imagine the cat just sits down on the table. and just won't
right
leave.
in front of him.
Sir, I have tactically ascertained that the cat has sat down instead of moving the 10 feet to the target. He would appear to not be hungry.
He is licking his paw.
We made the mistake. Who gave this guy breakfast?
They actually did have to starve the cat alive.
Oh.
Because, animal training is done with food.
It's basically, it's all food.
Yeah, and cats they're not really that social, so you have to deny them food and then feed them.
Like that's how birding works. Birding
Yeah.
is like with like falconry. The falcon and the hawks, they're not your friends. It's a loosely held business relationship.
They're prisoners.
Yeah. Well, no. It's not that. It's literally like a loosely held business relationship. And if the bird ever decides it's just kind of done with doing this, it will just fly away and not come
Forever.
back. Like that just happens. The birds will just be like, "I'm done. See ya. You can keep the rabbit," and just leaves.
Damn. That must be why the Saudi princes need so many boatloads of those things every year.
Yeah,
Constantly
because you
losing
lose them. It's
They're contractors.
Oh.
For the price of 5 rabbits a year, we'll negotiate for the next quarter.
Yeah, it's a cost plus contract.
So these cats, this cat that they trained, they spent millions of dollars on to walk like maybe 10 feet in a line on command.
Yeah, I think they did a little better than that, but they were not able to get it to like do obstacle courses
You couldn't
or
like turn
go
it. You couldn't have
extended
it go around a
distance.
corner.
I think you could probably go
Maybe.
around a corner.
If that was the only option.
Yeah, their little brains can only take so much, unfortunately.
I think they just don't care.
Especially after you waterboard it.
After you take the car batteries off its paws, it's not very cooperative.
I don't want
We
to
have extraordinarily renditioned this cat to a black side as punishment for not taking the food. Bring in the next one.
Cat Tano obey.
They put him under surveilled retirement.
Oh.
There's always a van across the street from
Yeah.
the house that he's
You know,
adopted.
Well, we'll see if this cat gets to retirement.
Oh.
So they train it.
They train the cat.
Cats have short lives already, bud. So they train this cat, and then they come to the technical problem. This is that second part. How the hell do you get a microphone onto a cat? You can't teach it to walk on its back legs and hold the thing. You know, as cool as that would be, it's impossible. So now we get to the section of my little outline called Cat Cyborgization.
And that is open as a band name, just for
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
That's for you guys. It's for free.
Fan
Go
name
ahead.
number 1, cat cyborgization.
So their best trainee from the program, they take the cream of the crop, as it were. The cat's meow. It's an adult gray and white cat, medium hair, I think. Probably an American medium hair, because those are cheap. And they do a bit of reassembly on the cat. To the
You know, reassemblies, that's not a word that I like to hear pertaining to living.
Yeah,
to
well, the thing
cats.
is, you know, cats, the internal organ layout and stuff is just inefficient for the purpose of being a walking microphone.
Yeah.
You gotta rejigger stuff.
You know what I just realized? This means that the CIA somewhere has on record how many ways there are to skin a cat.
Oh,
A human, too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Look up the Kubark manual. So...
Okay. So
again,
the cat,
later, another episode. So back to the cat.
they have floating bones, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you can like move some stuff around in there.
You
It's
can
all
really
just sort of
shuffle
a-
them around. They're very,
They
very
have floating
flexible.
bones?
They have floating collarbones.
Huh.
Yeah,
That
a
explains
cat can.
lot.
A cat could squeeze through a place the size of that pop filter.
That makes sense.
They're cool. So they embed a 3/4 inch long transmitter in the cat's skull, near
As
the
one
ear.
does.
They go in sort of through the ear canal. They stick it in there.
And you can also get broadband.
It gets Wi-Fi. The cat is Bluetooth enabled. It can play songs.
The best part is the shuffle control. You just kind of it's a cat, and then he plays a new song.
Hey cat, play Stars and Stripes forever. Meow, 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 meow. No, and
It's just
so
a muffled bass sound.
this cat is it has a very tinny sound. It's not very bassy.
Yeah, we got to take that into a technician and get that fixed.
So they put the microphone in the ear canal. It's already there for hearing sound. You know, the ear acts as a little like a satellite dish,
yeah.
takes in the sound, so it's efficient. And then they weave an antenna into the cat's fur from the base of its skull to the tip of its tail.
Wait,
The cat has a weave.
okay, but
Just,
I'm
and
wondering
this
how
looks
bendy
normal?
is it? Because you know, cats love to bend around with their little spines.
Yeah, but like,
It's a metal wire, so
Okay.
but so I guess the question is like, so the radius of curvature, which is effectively like the point where the wire can bend before it won't break.
Wait, why didn't they put it in the tail so it could just go up and it's
Yeah, well,
like
that's
Looney
where it
Tunes.
ends, right? It goes down there from the head to the tail.
yeah.
How do you not look at this cat and be like, there's something wrong with it?
Well, you don't notice the blinking light on the tip of the cat's tail, and the fact that it goes bing.
Or the fact that it's been tortured for God knows how long to walk in straight lines, like, and it's probably like tilting to one side because they may not have considered center of gravity when they put the metal parts in.
Oh no! So the transmitter and the microphone are light, but the battery that they put inside of its rib cage is actually pretty heavy.
Oh shit!
That's how they power it.
Oh god, this might have been before they even had like nickel cad batteries. This might have been like a car battery, a small car battery size, like type. battery, like a lead sulfur battery.
This is too dark already.
Oh jeez.
I like to imagine it's just like a 9-volt that they just kind of stuck in there.
It's like, and we
Like,
just,
hey, look this.
like this thing takes how many? I see 3 D cells. Got it. Dum, dum, dum.
Hey, the cat's not transmitting. Oh, well, yeah, you can try slapping it around, but you might have put the batteries in upside
You got
down. It's
tin
plus,
whiskers.
minus, plus, minus. It's not minus, plus, minus, plus.
A whole different kind of tin whiskers.
So, the problem with the cat, once they've spent almost $20 million training and modifying this one cat to be a microphone, is that the cat gets hungry, and when it's hungry, it doesn't cooperate because it's a cat. And so they have to do further surgery to solve what they phrased the hunger issue.
Oh jeez.
That sounds like a British person just talking about any of their foreign policy.
Oh, yikes. Or domestic
jeez.
policy.
Oh!
Apparently, we're not friends with the Brits here on CrackOps.
Here at CrackOps, we support 32 watts of energy.
16.
Anyway, stepping aside from geopolitical conversations.
Yeah. So, to quote this Victor Marchetti guy, the ex-CIA spook, they slit the cat open, put batteries in him, wired him up. The tail was used as an antenna. They made a monstrosity. They tested him and tested him. They found he would walk off the job when he got hungry. So they put another wire in to override that.
Oh!
That is the most 1960s pseudoscience bullshit I've ever heard. It's like we took the cat and we changed how it thinks. We removed the need to eat from its brain
I don't
with
get
a
that,
wire.
Because it takes like months and months of training to get it to walk in a straight line, but they can just stick a wire in there and
Yeah.
make it not hungry.
What they did is they probably like tied its stomach to make it smaller or some insanity like
Which
that.
doesn't change like metabolics. It still needs the same amount of energy.
It just feels less hungry.
No, so it'll be like I'm so hungry but I'm full.
Oh, yikes.
It's a whole different kind of torture. You can't eat enough to get the energy you need.
I like to think of it as motivation.
Jack, have you considered a job for the CIA?
With this hairdo,
Yeah.
So lab testing found that this cat could be trained to move short distances, but it was distracted by hunger. Thus, the second wire that Marchetti mentions.
Wherever that may be, I don't think they elaborated, did they?
We'll leave that up to imagination.
Yeah, y'all can just sort of decide
Figure
for
out where
yourselves
that
what that
went.
means. I think it was like a gastric bypass or something.
I was thinking more like some part of the... Did they find the hunger center of the brain?
That's what I think. That's what I like to think. I think that they thought that they found it. They probably didn't.
Oh yeah, they probably just stuck it in a lobe somewhere.
Because like only in the past like maybe 20 years has neuroscience gotten to the point where we can actually maybe figure out where things happen in brains. So
No, well, we've had phrenology for 200 years.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
they're
that's-
like,
that's
oh,
never
here's
failed us.
here's the hungry ridge.
this cat, it has it has space in its skull for secret operations. Perfect.
Hey, there's actually a lot more space in these things than you thought. Let's put some more stuff in here.
It's got a cup holder and a can opener.
A Wi-Fi hotspot.
Oh,
And this is where you can store extra razor blades in case you need to shave.
in case you need to shave the cat to put more wires in it.
Yeah. Also, didn't they have to shave it to do?
Presumably.
So they had to wait. They had to
Force it to grow
shave it
back.
and then like, all right, well, after a couple of months, it'll look like a normal cat again.
It kind of walks in a circle and a little funny now, but other than that, it looks fine.
Kid has uncontrollable twitches, but the hunger wire short circuit sometimes.
Yeah, so after this, the
This
Franken
actually happened.
after this, the Franken-cat was actually taken in by a Swiss
Franken
villager.
cat's monster.
Shut up, you fucking nerd. Jesus Christ. You're off the podcast. Get out.
So the Franken-cat.
So the Franken-cat was taken in by a Swiss villager. Most of the villagers chased it away because it was just horribly ugly and malformed. But its kind spirit actually got it to be taken in by a blind Swiss man who raised it. He actually helped it, to learn letters and language. But
For
then
those
one
of you
day,
who haven't read Mary Shelley's classic, this is the plot of Frankenstein.
the blind man's son comes back and he sees the monster cat, sitting with his
For
dad.
now, we'll call it the daemon or the wretch.
Okay, now, so eventually the spooks are done testing this thing and they think, okay, this cat is field ready. We can operationally actualize and deploy this cat. And so they set up a test. There's a park near the Soviet embassy in DC. and they have 2 women go sit on a bench out in the park and have, just an inane conversation talking about whatever was happening in
What
the
year is
mid-60s. I think it's like 67.
Okay.
Revolver. came
Yeah,
out.
they're talking about how the Beatles are good and how the war in Vietnam is also good and how we'll be out of there in 6 months and stuff. And so they pull up in a van with the cat. The spook van that's like the white van with no windows.
But instead of like picking someone up, they just push a cat out.
So they pop open the back doors. They shove this cat out of it. And the cat's training takes over. A combination of catly instincts combined with hardcore government training, right? And he kicks into high gear.
And it goes and it eats a pigeon.
No.
It sees a squirrel and it runs off. No,
Much like the
Forever.
birds we discussed earlier, it kind of flies away.
it's picked up by an errant Saudi prince's falcon.
It was able to speak to a moth, and the moth eventually freed it from the Tower of Orthanc. It's good.
This is now a Lord of the Rings
Lord
podcast.
of the Rings deep cut. Anyway.
So no, what actually happens is even more hilarious and stupid and fucked up than that, which is like just the theme of this podcast is stupid and fucked up. It crosses the street towards the bench, and it being a cat, it's kind of taking its time, and wham! It gets hit by a fucking taxi and dies.
It's like halfway across the street.
It's halfway across the
It
street.
crosses the double yellow, and it's just like, I like to imagine that it looks the other way. And, boom, and there's just like,
And that $20 million cat.
How many months or years went into making this thing?
This was a multi-year training and surgical
it's probably
program.
like 3 or 4,
And they
maybe
just put
5
it
years.
out.
Yeah,
on
I think
a
it was
street.
between 2 to 3.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning to putting it out on the street?
Well, I mean, look, in real life, it's not going to be
You
like
had
a
to do
lab.
a live test, I
Yeah,
guess.
they had
like,
to do a live test.
like the whole operation was that they would go to the embassy of wherever the guy they were trying to target, and they would pull up in a van on the other side of the street. The
Yeah.
first step of the mission was the cat has to cross the street, get into the building, and then record the
Hey,
the
guys.
meeting, right?
Why did the cat cross the street? Because it was
Because it
programmed.
was trained by the CIA.
To get
like
hit
like
by
a
taxi?
Manchurian candidate.
The
But-
Manchurian cat
Cat
did it.
So there, but so I just like to I really would like to have a record of the audio file of like the tape of this cat crossing the street. Because some guy had to hear that. Some guy was in the back of the van
With, like, sound-canceling
listening, and he
earphones
probably
on.
couldn't see.
Oh, my God.
Because he was like dealing with because this is back
yeah,
when
yeah.
computers filled rooms, so he was just like in the back of the van, just like, all right, I'm getting audio. It cut. What happened?
Frank,
And he
look out the
looks-
back.
And he looks over and he sees his two coworkers who are just like looking at the van, just like.
And none of them are
"Oh
paid enough for
my
this shit."
God.
Look at that, this flattened cat out of the
Well, no, see, if it's flat, there's actually a secondary option. You can peel it up with like a snow shovel, and you can kind of wing it like a frisbee into the compound. They're very aerodynamic.
But like, can you imagine being a driver on the street, just like after this happens, and then suddenly like the 2 women who are working in the CIA stand up and flip shit, and the other couple of people they have around like observing this.
Oh yeah, the
test.
guy with the newspaper.
Yeah, and
the guy in the trench
like,
coat.
and there's like, and then like all
Guy in a
these
trash
like
can.
these like 10 different people just swarm over and stand in the middle of the street and look at this just destroyed cat carcass. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
What did I do?
Or, as is probably typical, you're like, normal day in DC in the 60s.
Gather
Then we go
around the
back to
cat
work.
children.
They were probably all too high on the LSD that the agency put in the fucking water supply to notice
Oh,
anything.
that's why the cat couldn't walk straight. They actually mixed
They
them up. They
accidentally
MK
waterboarded it
Ultra
with
the cat.
LSD.
Yeah. Oh, so sorry guys. Today's staff meeting. It would seem that the MK Ultra and the Acoustic Kitty operations accidentally switched offices today. The cat is tripping balls, and the MK Ultra people all
Smell
have
like
been.
tuna.
So,
They've all been fed cat food and inserted with transmitters.
so if you have a cat allergy, it might not be a good day to come into work. But
Why are there batteries in my tummy?
Maybe that's all the homeless people that think their teeth are transmitting actually got captured.
Oh yeah,
and
they
the
got
Operation Acoustic Human.
cat ultra.
oof.
Boo.
But the greatest thing to think about is that this was probably the day that someone had the idea for Frogger.
This $20 million experiment failed, but hey, I got a great new game.
We can use it to train animals to cross the street and other hazards. Wait until the car isn't there before you go.
Or, frog crossing the street, you can just pick it up with gloved hands, put it in a bucket, and bring it to the other side.
Well, but then you get hit
That's
by the
way.
car.
That doesn't. You're not spending nearly enough of the defense budget on that.
It needs to be like a contractor doing the frog picking, a contractor doing the frog counting.
And then a subcontractor who manages both of these but has no real say in anything.
Frog release.
I mean, you gotta understand, if they don't spend all their money, they're not gonna get it all back next year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when October runs around, you're going to see a lot of frivolous spending from the federal budget. But
You
it's
like
just to
hire
ensure
your
that they have
nephew
what
to
they
like
need.
tissue massage the frogs.
I like to imagine that Acoustic Kitty was an all-nephew program. It was like all interns who were not qualified at all, and like
It was just a bunch of senators' nephews.
J.
and like the
Hoover's
one
son-in-law.
actual competent CIA operative who got in charge of the whole
was
thing.
the cat.
But like, you know what I mean? Like,
cat
there's like
was on
the
the
one
inside
guy,
all
like, cause like they actually produced a product that they tried to test, and it started to work. So there's the one guy who was in charge of it, just kind of like, all right, this is a terrible idea, but I'm gonna do my job. I'm a patriot.
I'm getting paid.
I'll make this happen. And then I can only imagine that if this is actually true, this speculative, whatever you want to call it, he gets the phone call that says, so we put Mr. Whiskers out on the street and he got decked by a cab in 20 seconds. It's kind of like, fucking finally I can go on to another project. And that's
I'm done. This isn't my problem anymore.
And that's when he learns that he's been handed the case file for like MK Ultra or something.
And the rest was history.
so you're going to be shadowing Martin Luther King Jr. during the strike down south.
Oh shit.
Hey, you know what they say? Loose kits sink ships.
So I like to imagine that the kitty cat was actually a Russian deep cover agent who was inserted to monitor the CIA animal training program, and that they found out about this, and this was actually a hit job.
That the taxi cab was driven
Yeah, the
by
taxi
some
cab
sort of
was driven
Soviet
by like a deep
agent.
cover like Soviet agent.
Well, I think
You got to
that
call on
the
the phone
cat.
blueberries and just decided to deck the cat.
I think the cat was in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. They have really good eyesight. Up on that grassy knoll.
Well, I'll be damned.
The grassy knoll has all the sun. They love sunning themselves.
No, the cat was in the book depository.
Oh.
Well, I'll be damned if that ain't a cat. My name's not Lee Harvey Oswald. Hey, kitty cat, what's up?
And that cat would later go on to become the Acoustic Kitty.
No, that means it was Jack Ruby driving the car. The cab that hit the
Oh
cat.
yeah. Well, to be fair, there were like no cats around on 9/11.
Ah.
They were all off spying for the CIA.
They were tipped off. Yeah, so this was considered to be an abject, absolutely irredeemable fucking failure, a
wonder
giant
why.
waste of taxpayer money. It was never repeated. The CIA has since reformed. They're not engaging in animal cruelty. They're not
Just-
fucking with people with drugs
Just
and
the
torture and
most,
stuff.
just the most dangerous game.
No, I'm being sarcastic. It was considered to be a qualified success. It produced a scientific white paper about cat training, and that was considered to be a great stride in the genre. I mean, because no one else
The
had ever
extensive
tried it because
genre
it's
of
stupid.
cat training.
Well, they just like covert animal ops.
Oh, just
Right?
animal behavior studies.
Yeah, because the government does use a lot of different animals to do a lot
But
of
they're
different
like the
things.
social, very trained up, like dolphins,
Yeah,
they're very-
dolphins, rats,
then there's-
dogs.
cats.
Now, speaking of more sociable, trainable animals,
Do we have a bonus
we
sheet?
turn the page. There's a bonus sheet, folks.
Oh boy, this is
So-
this is unexpected. I'm
A
excited.
lot of this animal training stuff goes back to a psychologist called B.F. Skinner. He may be famous.
A
Most
lot
famous, I
of
guess?
ways to Skinner a cat.
Haha, we're here all week, folks.
That would just weigh heavily on all of us if I didn't say it.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely-
it was.
I regret that you
floating.
said it, but I'm also very glad that you said it.
See,
so
the pressure's
I'm
off.
I'm at a neutral position now.
I'm going to have to take the anti-position. Someone has to do it. It was bad.
Go into that
Thank-
fiery
thank-
breach.
thank- you,
Podcast
sir.
jail. Podcast jail. Cut her mic. Cut her mic.
And we're back.
Okay, so
So B.F. Skinner.
B.F. Skinner, a very influential psychologist. He created sort of some new theories of mind. I don't know anything about psychology. It's boring.
Okay, so B.F. Skinner.
So this guy, he had a lot of proteges who got involved in animal training, And very, very interesting thing that he did himself related to animal training in World War II was Project Orcon, one of the best named government programs. Shut the fuck up! Shut up! I'm presenting! Be quiet! Keep doing sound stuff, nerd.
sorry,
Sound
sir.
harder.
I didn't mean it.
Don't say that to Brad.
Please.
That's it. Your show over.
Oh, dag nabbit!
Mic drop, walk away.
Tune in next week, folks.
We're currently
Tune in
throwing
next
our
week.
hats
This
down
seat
on the
will be
ground.
empty because I abused everyone.
Just like B.F.
B.F.
Skinner.
Ah, just like B.F. Skinner
And
did to all those poor
Orcon.
pigeons in Project Orcon.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
it's
the pigeons.
pigeons.
This was a
Okay.
pigeon experiment. Pigeons, beyond being adorable and spreading disease,
Like most good things.
yeah, like pretty much all good
Being the
things.
rats of the air.
Skyrocket.
Sky rat.
Their sky rat powers were harnessed by Skinner for a theoretical and later tested and proven bomb, in which a pigeon would be set down on its front, laying down, with a strap inside of a wooden box. It would have 3 lenses in front of it, front and 2 on the side, that would display an image projected from the nose cone of the bomb that the box would be inside of. The pigeon would be dropped in the bomb and killed in the explosion. The bomb would be a glider. It would have little wings on it so it could get some forward momentum.
Why would there be? What's the point of the pigeon? It's like the marble
So-
in a Ramune bottle.
We're getting back to why this...
It's just
You're
there.
right. It's like, why is it
yeah,
here?
what the fuck is that there?
It's novelty. You want to break the glass later and get it out?
Are you not supposed to eat those?
Oh, God. We need to go to the doctor. That explains a lot.
I'm in constant pain.
It's like a pinched intestine.
So,
The second wire. The second wire.
so the pigeon is laying down inside of the bomb, curled up. It's got a little strap holding it down so it can't flutter away. And an image is projected in front of it from the front of the bomb. It's dropped from a plane. The pigeon has been trained via images that are taken from the air of a target. Its goal is to peck the target. And so the projection that it gets from the nose cone of the bomb shows whatever is in front of the bomb. And it's dropped sort of near the target of whatever it is. A factory,
How does
troop
it fly
position.
inside the box?
It doesn't. It just sits there. The
Oh.
pigeon is the guidance system.
This is image recognition?
This is pigeon-based image recognition.
This
They
is-
didn't
so-
have computers that were good
So
back
this
then.
is like, oh, we've trained this pigeon to peck when it sees this building.
Yes.
And then we're going to drop a bomb with a window, and when the pigeon pecks because it sees the building, the bomb is released and it goes off.
A circuit. No, the pigeon is in the bomb. The bomb is dropped with the pigeon in it. It glides toward the target. Sort of like a cruise missile almost.
God.
It's a big fucking bomb too.
And so like
And so the pigeon, it pecks.
does the
It pecks at
pigeon
one of the
fly?
screen. It doesn't fly. It sits there. It is bound.
I'm trying
strapped
to
in.
picture
It is
this.
strapped
it's
in.
just like, all right. It's like, I see it, go.
And so if the bomb shifts a little bit away from the target, the pigeon pecks at the image of the target. That triggers a circuit which causes the bomb's control fins. It's got a tail and 2 little wings.
to
reorient it such that it will hit the target. This was not only effective, it was fairly cheap. Unfortunately, it only came around in the 40s. It was only funded $25,000, which is a damn shame.
Otherwise, we'd have to explain.
It's a
to our
2-in-1.
children.
You hit your target and you get rid of a pigeon.
The city of New York was donating.
It's like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone right there.
Two birds with
The
one
pigeon to
bomb.
bomb pipeline.
Yeah, two Japanese civilian targets with 1 bird.
1 bird.
Oh no.
So this control circuit where you have a computer, in this case a pigeon, and you have image created, and then a control circuit between like the computer and the image that guides the bomb, is actually still used today. Like just that basic theoretical level of like controlling a bomb, we just do it with computers. And it's the same thing as with the cat. Like we just have a laser that you can point at a window, and when people in the room talk, the air vibrates, it makes the window vibrate, and a computer decodes the feedback from the laser, and you can just listen to it.
I didn't know that. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
IR technology. It's just
So
it's an infrared laser.
you just put a computer or something, or not a computer, you put a phone up against the window vibrating, and it just cancels that out.
Yeah.
Now, can you attach the phone to a cat?
Yes.
Like an old-timey phone, but when you hang it up, you just put it on the back of the cat.
Well, first you have to train the cat how to dial with a rotary dial. So
Keep it away from taxis.
hit 0 for
No
operator.
taxis here.
Why do I have to press 1 for English? You didn't have to press 1 for English on cats back in my day.
What if instead of shining the laser through your window, you just put the laser on the cat, and then they just
And then-
transmit
Oh.
it that way?
Because
That would work.
And the cat would chase the laser too.
That's right.
And you
So
just-
it would
you just-
always
you
be
just-
moving.
actually,
Perfect.
Genius.
it's
We need
funny
to.
that you mentioned this.
Let's write a grant.
The other day
I need $40 million.
The other day I saw a video of someone who had like taped a laser pointer to the head of a cat, so wherever the cat looked,
Oh,
and it was going ballistic for like 2 minutes.
See, it's already being done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's meant
I'm
to
not sure
happen.
how I feel about that. It was funny, but I also don't know how I feel about like,
What if when you pull the tape off,
yeah.
they're covered in hair?
I know. That's when I'm like, I don't know, guys. But then again, how else do you hear things to a cat? I mean, it's at least they
little
didn't.
chin strap. Oh, I guess they can just wiggle out. They're too flexible.
Yeah.
It's all the floating
All those
bones.
floating bones.
You could
can sew
implant
it.
the laser in its skull like a cyclops.
like a third eye, just like you hit a button and the flap opens and it shoots out.
The cat's just enlightened. It's opened its third eye.
It's literally the glowing eyes meme. Okay, so after that, there's another sort of, you mentioned B.F. Skinner hating flying animals. This is more of B.F. Skinner's proteges, like this dude who I mentioned a little earlier. I name-checked him, Bob Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound real. Hi, I'm
Welcome to
Bob
CrackOps.
Bailey.
It's a pen name.
That's a dog
It's
name
his
for
CIA
sure.
name. He has many. There are those that call him Tim.
Horton.
Boo. Podcasting jail. So there was also Operation Takana. This one, unqualified success. It actually worked really well. The CIA trained ravens. And because ravens are super
really
intelligent, they're
smart,
like
yeah.
smarter than dogs. They're possibly, some types are sentient,
Yeah.
which is
believe it.
tight. Look
They
it up.
passed the mirror
They rock.
test. They're one of the few
Yeah.
I thought
animals
they were
that.
crows.
Is there a difference?
They're, I mean,
Ravens are purple. Okay. I mean,
Oh.
look at that.
Mm.
Duh.
for those who don't know, Brad is showing a Ravens like the NFL team thing.
And they're purple.
Yeah, go
Has
Ravens.
to be real.
Wait, ravens and crows?
Are
They're
they not-
different. They're different.
They're different?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering though, like how different. Like is it
Ravens are
apples and
bigger.
oranges, or is it like
Ravens are bigger.
oranges and
There's,
clementines?
there's bigger.
They're
Okay.
they're of
Hefty.
different like genus.
They're yolks.
Bigger
Well,
and smarter.
Or geni rather.
Crows, they staff the wall up north that keeps the Zambos and the wildlings out. They wear all black furs and they do like a watch thing. It's
They're
very
helmed by
thematic.
bastards exclusively.
They usually do it at the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like to
Yeah.
watch at night.
Well, because it's up north, it's always night.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, but they're like they're.
and
but,
you know when
but-
it's fall, you know the season's coming, and
yeah,
Right.
Fair enough. The winter is on the way.
that's a Ulysses S. Grant quote. By
Winter
the way.
is just right around the
War
corner.
never changes and winter is coming are both from the same Ulysses S. Grant quote. And one of these days I'll dig it up and have it, but it's real and it's
we
hilarious.
we should make T-shirts. It's like cyborg cats. Cyborg cats never change.
Ulysses S. Cat.
But the actual difference between ravens and crows is that they have like a genus difference. Like ravens are of like the genus Corvus, and I don't know what crows are of, but like they're different that way.
Okay, well that was lame. But anyway,
welcome.
so the CIA
That's
trains.
why I'm here, folks.
They train these ravens, not crows, because they are apparently very different, to go to whatever location is designated by a red laser, or no, it was a green laser. And because crows are really smart, what you guys
You mean
you
ravens?
can't tell I did my research for this.
Ravens are really smart, so they go to the green. I mean,
They
red,
go
I
to the
mean blue
green
laser.
laser. They go to whatever laser you train them to go to because they're trainable, unlike a cat. And you can also train them to hold things in their little hands because they have those
Aw.
claws on their feet, and they're prehensile, so they can hold stuff like microphones. So what you can do is you can have it hold a little microphone. And this, I believe this is in the 70s, so microphone tech has advanced a lot during the Cold War. They're little smaller microphones. So the Raven picks up the microphone in its little feet, and it goes to the laser. And what that allows you to do is, say, go to the Soviet embassy, or go to a Soviet government building in Leningrad or Moscow or wherever,
And like land a raven on the window.
and land a
have
Raven
it-
on the window, have it release the microphone on the sill, out of sight,
and then just come back.
and come back.
Did it work?
And yeah, it actually worked really well. They were able to disguise some of the transmitters as like slate roof tiles and put them up on roofs above windows. And some of the Ravens even, they were trained to open file cabinets.
Yeah. How did they get in?
Open window.
just
you're on the
nice
10th floor and you
breeze.
just leave your
you
window
open the
open.
Yeah, because like who's gonna climb up there?
Because what a fucking CIA trained raven? What stupid world do we
Yeah,
live in where that's
please,
possible?
that's not real. Come on. What have you been putting in FOIA requests?
What have you been reading? The Church Commission.
So ravens fly into windows.
They'll fly into the window. They can pop open a file drawer with their little beaks and their little feet. They're so adorable. And they can poke through it. They kind of like the utility ends there, unless
But
it's,
do they take the file out?
you
they
can
fly
get
away
them
with
to
it?
take a file out, but they
You
can
just see
only
a
carry
file
one.
flying
yeah,
from the
and
sky.
like because there's also just a mass issue. A bird can't carry really big meaty files, and also it's hard to fly with those. I can imagine.
Oh,
like a page moving like the wide space of a page going against a bird. That's not very aerodynamic.
But can you imagine a raven like? There's this, you're looking at the 10th floor window of
Just
like a
looking up
Soviet
the building.
government building. You're looking up and you just hear, "Blядь, suka!" And some like old Soviet general in his uniform, like half unbuttoned with a bottle of vodka in one hand, is like shooing a bird out of his window.
Who's flying
And it's
away with a
carrying a
file.
manila folder that's like dumping, top secret marked files out the bottom of it like a cartoon. Shoo! Fucking bird! Get out of here!
So why did they train it to? I'm thinking, did it have a little camera? It could take.
It could place
pictures?
cameras.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could, it'll place whatever you give it.
Because we were getting to the point where they also had like smaller and smaller camera tech too.
So theoretically, it could place bombs.
Yeah, it probably could place
It
bombs. B.F. Skinner is like perking up in his coffin right now. It's like,
That's an idea.
Why didn't I think of that?
we should drop a plane load of these things over Tokyo. And so the way that they'd send them out is with a laser, and they draw them back by opening up a specially colored lamp. I assume that they'd train them on like
Wait, like Batman, you shine the lamp and
The
it signals
raven
them
signal.
back.
shine the bird signal.
Just a picture of a raven, but instead of bat.
Yeah, why are they showing bird signal again?
They just keep playing Nevermore, Nevermore, Nevermore on repeat, and the bird comes back, starts rapping on the door like, "Let me in." Anyone literary references?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Fine.
This is a pretty lowbrow show.
I see
Honestly.
how it is.
Yeah, so that was a pretty unqualified success. It worked
That
real
actually,
well.
that does sound like much more successful than Acoustic Kitty anyway. I
None
mean, they
of,
solved the taxi cab problem
They picked an animal that could fly over the taxi cab. It
But-
was pretty
and didn't
effective.
require a second wire.
It's a good thing they didn't try to do them at the same time, or the Acoustic Kitty would have eaten the sneaky birds.
Yeah.
Well, you actually don't know that.
I don't know. The ravens are pretty
Huh.
tough. Ravens are like they're bigger than you think.
Yeah,
They're
but-
pretty
Got a-
tough fuckers.
Yeah,
Like
ravens are made of steel.
they are. That is true. I'm
But,
a
you know,
metallurgist. Let me
cats
tell
are
you,
sneaky,
ravens are made out of
hungry.
steel. Brad, did you just like accidentally smack the?
I just keep hitting my wire.
Oh, that's not good.
It's just a headphone wire. No one can hear that.
Right, well, normal cats are sneaky, but not cats that have lead sulfur batteries in
Not
their
full of
stomach.
batteries and wires.
Slosh, 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 slosh. Oh.
That's why our cat's stomach does that.
Our cat's not fat. He's wired up.
Your cat is it's a washout from the Acoustic Kitty 2 program. Electric Boogaloo.
Is that why he has all those literally electric bill?
Electric cat galoo.
Do CIA operatives dream of electric cats?
I think they might. That's like one of the tests. To see if you're really ready for the real stuff.
Yeah.
The Blade Runner couldn't outrun the cab.
Oof.
Do they have like cats? Do you think that some of the acoustic kitties got loose in the
Wait,
town?
were there multiple Acoustic Kitties?
Well, they trained a lot of them, but they only cyborgized one.
Okay.
Because that's probably the one that like passed, the one that could pass muster, that could actually like do stuff.
It passed the training montage. It wore a little sweatsuit.
And this was before Rocky, so that was really hard.
Now, did it pass the volleyball montage?
Yeah, it was. There was an extremely gay volleyball montage with like 80s rock music playing,
They had to. The CIA actually invented Kenny
and the
Loggins
cat was
in
shitting in the sand the
1960s.
entire time.
After that, they did a car wash montage, of the same style.
Yeah, no, it's the CIA. They invented the montage in the 1960s as part of their animal training program.
That's why it took off soon after that. Like almost every movie.
Well,
Like
they,
it was around the 80s, 20 years later or so, when like this information got out. And
Yeah,
they were
it's
like,
like,
let's
"That's a
use
great idea."
Hollywood was like, that's how we beat Rocky to beat the Soviets. Training montage.
So, yeah, they had a little problem with acoustic kitties. 5 or 6 of them got loose, And their built-in expiration that they had, like all replicants do, wasn't working, and so they had to be hunted down by a cade runner.
Wait. You're telling me that they actually had a built-in? Is this
No,
a joke or is this real?
A stupid Blade Runner joke.
Okay.
Cade runner.
I'm sorry.
Because I was
got
really.
it. I appreciate it.
No, like that's the thing is that like that's just on the line of what could actually have happened. Where they
Same
would have
with
been,
like the first few seconds of you making the Frankenstein joke is like I don't know what the limit is here. We're putting microphones in cats.
Yeah, like that. Like that's honestly what it is. It's like, wait, did they actually try to develop some sort of like remote self-destruct on these cats in case they ever got out? It's like, oh no, the Russians—they're going to reverse engineer Acoustic Kitty. We have to detonate. Send another cab.
Hey, Ho Chi Minh picked up the cat. It got in his lap. You know what to do, Jenkins.
They send a raven and just sends like a dart in the cat.
The Raven acts as the targeting system for the pigeon and the bomb.
That's right. Your target's there.
Well, you think that they could probably save a lot of money on manpower by training the ravens to train the pigeons.
There we go.
And then the pigeons train the cats.
And the pigeons
Someone call it
oh my
Disney.
God,
I think
Disney.
we have the sequel to Zootopia here.
Oh hey, that does have a cop as the main character. She gets headhunted by the CIA.
by the Raven CIA with their pigeon bombs.
Well, dis Zootopia.
Whoa.
Fellas were here all week. And then there was another one I found. I can't remember the name. I didn't make a note of it because I suck.
It's okay, Jack. We forgive you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just how I am. And they trained like a flock, I think, of pigeons, maybe it was crows, to go in front of a military convoy, like about a mile in front of a military convoy as it moved. And they were to land if they noticed anybody in the woods to the side of the road, like laying in ambush. And they tested it, and it was actually successful.
So they had like a murder of crows that would go.
They had a murder of crows that would sort of circle in front of the convoy as it moved at
and
a certain
if they
distance.
ever just go down, it's like, all right.
It's like, all right, everybody, unbutton, let's go.
Yeah, like go search the woods. There are people.
So you had a murder of crows looking for a murderer.
Yeah.
So they can murder.
So they could murder.
They could murder the murderer.
Whoa,
and end
guys.
the murdering for
Murdering crows.
Then they wouldn't be called the murder of crows.
This is a little deep for me. Some loud shit right
That's
there.
stinky.
Here's something I learned the other day. So there are basically two different kinds of animal fat. There's like fat that you can like use to eat and stuff, and it tastes good. And then there's tallow, which is basically fat that's waxy. This is the kind of fat that deer have. Like venison fat is not. You don't eat it. It's called tallow.
Is that what a tallow candle is?
Yeah, that's what tallow can. It's an animal fat.
Like puffins.
Yeah. Apparently, dogs have tallow.
Cool.
Let's do an experiment.
I don't want to learn.
Don't eat my dog.
Well, which one? There are two.
Neither of them. Well, you don't want to eat the other one.
Yeah, no. We try to eat her, she'll bite us.
Well, she'll bite you, and she won't taste very good either.
Yeah.
So Acoustic Kitty, final thoughts?
Well, we're not
We've
quite
got
done. There's
hose.
actually
Oh.
there's one of these programs
Hose
that's
thoughts.
currently active, and it's probably the coolest and most
Wait, there's
sci-fi
one
of
that's
them all.
still going on.
It's currently active. There's like a Wikipedia page for
Is
it.
this
and
like the
everything.
bomb sniffing dolphins?
This is the Navy Marine Mammal Program.
Yep.
Now,
And it's not just dolphins. There's more.
now
Oh,
before
God.
we...
Wait,
I wanted to
actual
say-
naval seals?
They're
Laser
literally
sharks?
When I was little, my mom told me
Sharks
about
are
the
mammals.
Navy SEALs and that she knows a Navy SEAL, and I was like, how do they keep them from biting people?
I thought that too. I thought that.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they still have that problem with the actual.
They just keep nipping at him.
Eddie, no, Eddie, down.
So this is the Navy SEAL SOG knife, and this is the Navy SEAL SOG teeth, and
So,
stated issue.
They're just so fat and blubbery.
Navy SEAls, they actually don't walk because their legs have sort of fused into a tail, so they flop on their bellies. Evolution's
webbed
crazy,
hands.
man. They have webbed hands.
Happens so quickly. That's the best evolution I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Whatever they put
Well,
in those boys' food is.
Give the CIA enough taxpayers' money and cocaine, and you'll see some shit.
Navy
had-
SEAls, half human, half seal.
You heard it here first,
Selkies.
folks.
Folks, we're standing up the first mermaid program. It's going to be huge.
We're coupling it with space cadets.
Oh god, you should do some sort of Mingala thing where you sew the fish tail onto the human.
Okay, so the Navy stuff that's happening now.
Alright, anyway.
We're gonna segue past that.
We are so... We have merged tuna and man for the first time.
So what?
Moona.
Operation Paperclip has been a great success.
But dolphins don't have necks, but anyway.
Well, they do. It's just...
Necks?
So do they have like really long necks that go between their flippers?
Oh god,
which
they're
are like
just
down
a neck.
here?
They are just
up to
a
the
neck.
head,
It's just head, neck.
Or do they have...
It's all neck, baby.
Well, I guess they would because like it's like what do you define a neck as? Like right? It's probably like the space between
collarbone
the head and the clavicle,
like,
right?
The chin, I
Do they have
guess.
clavicles?
I think that they might have clavicles
Okay, Siri.
around
Hey,
like
Siri.
their fins, right? Because they have those front fins.
So if their like collarbone is way down yonder, do you think that they have like a 10-foot neck?
Well, because like the neck is just the part that connects like the rib cage area right to the skull.
Yeah.
So I think that they have one.
That's pretty fucked up. We should shorten dolphins to make their necks proportionate.
Oh, no.
The Mr. Dursley of dolphins.
We have created cop dolphins. The chin blends into the stomach. They wear Oakleys underwater.
Just more efficient.
They are
for
kind
them.
of blue.
And they have been trained in security by the United States military, so...
Dolphins are the thin gray line that stands between C-Lab 2 and crime. So anyway, you can cut that if you don't want to offend our cop fan base, which I'm sure will be extremely
Oh, yeah,
big.
tons of...
This is a
We have
pro...
a huge fan base right now.
Back to the dolphin thing. So they actually... There's a partner and handler pair. Like, there's one dolphin and one Navy... Usually I think it's a Navy SEAL. Literally like a Navy SEAL and
Like a
dolphin.
person or like a
person.
seal?
It's not a seal and a dolphin
so
buddy
confused.
cop comedy, but it's like it's a dolphin and a man.
What a great new
Oh,
movie.
imagine
Someone
like
write that down.
A Navy
70s
SEAL who's a SEAL, and then a dolphin
Who's
just
a
a buddy
person.
cop who's a person. Wow.
And they solve crimes in 80s
They solve
New York.
crimes in 1980s Miami.
Wow.
Featuring funky bass line.
And mountains of cocaine.
So they secure harbors and they guard ships. They'll guard like carrier groups when they're in harbor.
Wait, the Navy SEAls or the dolphins? I'm so confused.
Oh my fucking god!
Navy SEAls can't swim that good.
Keep up. There's seals, and there's seals. It's different.
Okay,
moron.
look, dolphins swim faster than seals, okay? It's
I don't
just-
know. We should probably do a test, right? Like the thing they did on Discovery with like swimmers and sharks.
Oh, with what's his name? Michael
Michael
Phelps,
Phelps.
versus a shark.
Well, they
Although
did-
all they did was just swim in
They
a
just had him
pool.
swim
Yeah.
in a pool, and they measured it against shark speeds. They didn't
That's
actually
right.
put Michael Phelps in the same pool as a shark.
That's what we were hoping
That's
for,
what
but it's not what we
everyone
got.
No, I want that, but with a Navy SEAL and a Navy dolphin.
I mean, I'm sure they've had races before. It just seems like the vibe.
Yeah.
So like they'll partner up, and like the seal will be like the animal trainer, and sometimes swim with them when they're doing like underwater demolition or whatever. And the dolphin is trained to retrieve tools. So like if you drop your arc welder, you drop your limpet mine or your gun or whatever, and it goes down to the bottom of the harbor, the dolphin will go pick it up and fetch it for you.
Dolphin goes picks up your
fetch.
underwater M16.
And
Hey,
now
bud,
it
I
has
saw you
guns.
drop this.
Their
And the
arms.
dolphins take over and
You know the dolphins are thing.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have seen the Simpsons episode,
Oh, yeah,
you will
the
know that
dolphins-
dolphins can take over.
Dangerous. Armed. They don't have arms. What am I
And
saying?
they can also detect sea mines. So, like, if you're going into a strait, like, let's say, hypothetically, the Strait of Hormuz, which
Yeah.
we
Where
would
is
never
that?
do with the carrier group. It's between Iran and one of our awful Gulf states.
Okay.
Very narrow, like, half the world's oil goes through there on ships. You can use dolphins to clear sea mines. So they'll go find it, they'll, like, mark it, and they'll guide the human to it to cut it or disarm it.
Okay.
And they can go around like military harbors where we're keeping ships, and they'll shoo people away. So if you're swimming near the harbor and you're like, oh, I want to go touch the
So
destroyer,
if I go like swimming in like San Diego,
you
like-
would probably get like,
like a dolphin might, if I get too close to the subs, a dolphin might show up and just like escort me off the premises.
a dolphin will run up on you like a mall cop and escort you away.
Paul Blart my ass back onto shore.
dolphin on a Segway in the water.
Paul Blart Maldolf.
Paul Dolph Walmart. Yeah, no, they have no necks, so they're actually the ideal like mall cop security. The one problem with these guys is that they can't tell friend from foe, so you can't do like the James Bond underwater fighting mission with dolphins at your side because they would attack your own guys too.
It's a risk.
They
I'm
just
willing
see
to take.
weird sea monkey.
Yeah, and so that's what it comes back to. As electronics have gotten better, we've needed less and less of this animal training stuff. And within 10 years, probably these dolphins are out, and we're going to have automated,
robots that do it.
underwater vehicles that do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of one of the overarching themes of all of this stuff is that you had to be so much crazier and weirder and more creative back in the day, and you had to put so much money into animal training to try and piggyback your terrible electronics on animals.
Yeah.
Whereas today, it's like there's the Navy Marine Mammal Program, and that's probably it.
Well,
There's combat dogs.
Yeah,
and stuff.
there's still extensive use of canines.
Yeah, but that's going to get automated too.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Can you have like a drug sniffing bot, and would we trust them?
Like they are working on that though.
They're working on drug sniffing
but-
bots. They're
but
working on
bots
attack bots.
Don't have noses.
No, but you can. But all a nose is it's a molecule detector, and so the only difference is that there are thousands and thousands of more receptors in
I
a dog's
think the
nose than there are in
people-
ours.
I think the people just want to see a nose.
Honestly,
It does
like,
kind of look like on
a drug
biomimicry is a
sniffing
thing.
bot would never be nearly as good as a good boy as
Yeah.
like an actual
Yeah.
dog.
I think it just should be a giant sculpture of a nose that has all the robot stuff inside of it. I would trust it.
Just like a big human nose.
This is actually stuff that they're working on.
Animatronic
Like
nose.
now, where they're working on this more and more biomimicry, where they're trying to say like, all right, how do we how do dogs' noses work, and how can we make like an artificial one that we can use to do things like
Can you
smell for
imagine
bombs?
just like a pole with a automated dog nose, and we just hold it up to your bag? Next, it's like those scanners.
They just call it like Rufus or something, and they work some sort of acronym out to make
God.
Rufus work.
Mayor Rufus.
Good boy.
Just petting the nose.
I don't need to
Just
put
the
batteries
nose.
in your tummy.
But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like automation has a lot of value, but there's also like the adaptability that a living thing has.
Yes, that's true.
You'll never be able to get away from how valuable that can be. Like even like with like warfare and like warfare technology, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have like automated helicopters and we'll just send
Like,
that out. But it's like
probably not.
Well, no, we'll have like some of those and then one guy in an actual helicopter watching it.
Yeah, if we
'cause you
were
still
gonna
need
go,
that.
if it was like useful to go fully automated, I think we'd already be there.
Well, no, I mean the machine learning is just not there to give
Yeah,
it
and
that
they're working on
adaptability.
getting it there, but
They're
there's
getting
still a strong argument for, well, let's not completely remove humans from a lot of these situations, but let's significantly reduce the number that we need.
Because if you take them all away, then that's an interesting ethical thing of are you incentivizing
Yeah.
certain actions?
Yeah,
And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
And that's why we keep our dolphins.
That's why we keep the dolphins.
but like it's not just like an issue of morals. Like, oh, can we completely remove humans from warfare? But also like, can we completely trust a robot to like do the smart thing and actually like
What
get
if the
things
robot
done?
decides to lie? What if we have our giant animatronic human nose and it smells like cocaine and just like, I'm not a snitch?
Or the nose
smart.
just finds the cocaine and just sniffs it all up itself.
I know what they taught me. Snitches get the second wire.
Oh, never get the second wire.
So if you guys keep making puns, you're gonna get the second wire. And any fans who start complaining about the quality of the content,
Second wire.
Second wire.
second wire.
Yeah. Brad, do you have any closing thoughts?
No.
Thank you, Brad.
There are things we know, but there are also the ones we don't know.
I welcome this kind of examination.
The power of the presidency doesn't rest here.
Covert operation.
Grave danger to the civilized world.
You deserve the truth.
Cocaine.